Hello, I'm Theolyn Cortens. Welcome to SoulSchool. Welcome to Signs and Wonders. And in this series for Signs and Wonders, I'm covering topics concerning 8 archangels who are guardians of the gates of light for the lower section of the tree of life. And they represent archetypes, which are powerful structures in the invisible world, powerful structures for your inner kingdom. As I've said in previous videos about this topic, you don't have to call it a kingdom. You could call it your place or your homeland. And I also often think of this as a temple, an inner temple. And the 7 pillars in the temple, in the lower part of the tree of life, are kind of like part of the architecture, part of the structures of what you can do in life. So getting to know the archangels as representatives of the qualities, the divine qualities that are working together, or certainly should be working together, to uphold your psychological and spiritual inner world, to get to know them and to understand how they are working within you is a really powerful spiritual exercise, really helpful. And in the first of these series, I talked about Sandalphon, and the second about Oriel, the third about Gabriel. So now we've arrived at an archangel called Raphael, who's almost as famous as Gabriel, actually. Even though Raphael doesn't appear in the usual Bible. Raphael appears in a scripture that's outside certainly the Protestant Bible, anyway. So let me quote from my book, Working with Archangels, and I'll give you just 3 lines of poetry about Raphael. Raphael, the sociable spirit that deigned to travel with Tobias and secured his marriage with the 7 times wedded maid. That's from John Milton. So that's a very old piece of poetry, and it refers to the story of a young man who travels from his home to find lost family or family that he hasn't been connected with for a while. And the reason he's traveling is because his old father has become blind and poor, and they want to improve their family circumstances. And in the story, Tobit goes off and he meets a guide. He looks for somebody who will help him on his journey. He's not looking for an angel, he's looking for an ordinary human guide. And they set off. They set off with a little dog. And along the route, the guide suggests that they catch a fish to take with them. And this fish is going to turn out to be very important. When they arrive at the home of the family that they haven't been in touch with for a long time, the young man discovers that there's a cousin, a girl cousin. And this would make a very fine marriage because that part of the family has got money. However, this cousin has had a lot of problems with marriages. 7 altogether have just completely gone wrong because on the marriage night, when coming to the marriage bed, a demon has appeared to get in the way of them consummating their marriage. So the guide, who of course is really an archangel in disguise, tells the young man, use the gut from the fish to make a nasty kind of smelly thing and put it on the fire in the bedroom. And that would chase away the demon. So this means a young man and a young woman can get together and get married. So now perhaps you can understand why I associate Raphael with Venus in the Greco-Roman pantheon of gods, Aphrodite or Venus, and Eros, of course. Because this archangel is helping a couple come together under good circumstances so they can have a sexual union properly consummated, so that they're properly married. And then, of course, there's an exchange of money, which is also a Venusian topic. So let's come back to Raphael's usual title, Divine Healer. Raph is about healing. Well, even when it comes to marriage and money, in this role, Raphael is acting as healer. He's clearing the way, clearing the demon out of the way, clearing the old blocks, we could say, in modern terminology. We don't want those old stories getting in the way of something new evolving. And he's also, or she, perhaps Raphael, maybe a she, is also healing a financial issue. And finances and money are often to do with old blocks. So there is some healing going on already. But there's more to come. Because Raphael, still disguised as an ordinary human guide, accompanies the newly married couple back to meet the old father. And then Raphael, as the guide, says to Tobias, take the gut from the fish and now use it for an ointment to heal your father's eyes. So that is the healing that goes on, literal, physical, physiological healing that Raphael is associated with. So there's all those things. There's the marriage, there's the money, and there's the magical recovery of the eyesight. All of those are associated in that story with Raphael. And then they are very grateful to this guide who's been so helpful, and they invite him, her, to the meal to celebrate. And this person appears to eat and drink with them. But then he stands up, it, she, difficult to say with an archangel, what gender, reveals the archangelic nature. So not an ordinary human being, but an archangel. And Raphael says, I am one of the 7 spirits who stand before the throne. And that's a very interesting thing to explore, because who are the 7 spirits? Well, they can be associated with the 7 visible planets, or 5 planets and 2 luminaries, the sun and the moon and the 5 other planets, which were visible at the time that this story evolved. And Raphael is one of them. And they stand before the throne, because the throne is the invisible God who is beyond eyesight. And of course, the way that I'm talking about the archangels here is, we could say there are 8 spirits that stand before the throne, because earth itself is one. So Raphael is a healer and a soother of problems. It's like pouring oil on troubled water when Raphael is around. And sociable is the word that Milton uses. So interacting within groups of people and between families and reconciling any issues that are hanging around in the air, which in those days were considered to be like demons and have their own individual realities. Nowadays, we would think of a demon as something psychological, a kind of glitch in our energetic flow. And when we put those aside, when we exorcise our demons, the flow of divine blessings moves more easily and more gracefully in our world. And grace is a word that we could associate with Raphael. So, perhaps very feminine. And certainly we can associate Raphael with that side of the tree of life, the feminine or yin side of the tree of life. And I shall be talking in the next video about Haniel. And Haniel has sometimes been associated with Venus, but I think Raphael works with Venus. And some people associate the colour green with Raphael, but I feel that those soft pinks and lavenders and amethyst and rose quartz colours that we find in the healer's bag of crystals are much more appropriate for Raphael. So find out more about Raphael. If you are a healer, you should be working with Raphael, and you may already have found out lots about Raphael. But for your own healing within, and for your healing of relationships with other people, and your healing with money, which is also to do with relationships, all of those things need to be sorted in order to live a harmonious life. Wealth doesn't make for happiness, but lack of wealth and real poverty brings a great deal of unhappiness with it, and a great deal of sense of struggle and being out of the flow, because divine blessings will naturally bring a sense of ease and comfort. And the degree to which that has to be large amounts of wealth or just enough wealth to fulfill your purpose in life, well, that will vary from person to person. But clearly, what you need is a flow of divine blessings. And that's what Raphael, the healer of God, can help to bring into your life, can help ameliorate the blocks, which, as I say, in ancient times were considered to be demons. So find out more about Raphael in my book, Working with Archangels, or in the Angels script, where I channel the messages from the Archangels. Or better still, join my course, Accessing Angelic Realms, and I would be delighted to support you, mentor you, if you wanted to join the course as a supervised student. So look out for more videos about more archangels. Haniel is coming down the line very soon. Many blessings for you, and keep shining.